The entire world is right now evolving around data. Like from end to end, everywhere, data is the business. Data is the new business. See, I'll just give a very basic example that everyone can relate to. How many times we have seen that, you put when I'm talking about a fresher, that means that person does not have prior corporate experience. But that does not mean that the person is not completely inexperienced. So, what one thing I would suggest is if you don't have prior corporate experience, if you directly go to Power BI, someone, it might be a little challenging. So I would say, but yes, do not ignore Power BI for too long trying to perfect Excel. Maybe try to strike a balance between the two. Start with Excel, get a heck of it, and then midwhile start exploring Power BI, experiment with the tool, make rough projects, take sample data sets, work on them. Failures are the reason why a person learns. So if you're not learning from your failures, you're not learning at all. And it's human to fail. And everyone, including me, has faced failures at some point or the other in their lives. And I have failed multiple failures, and each failure taught me something. As far as I can see, no other tool. Excel is the only tool that has stood the test of time. I don't know, from decades it has been operating and we are still using it. Of course, it has evolved, it has improved, and with more functions, with more features, with a better interface, everything. But Excel has always been there, and what I feel is it will still be there. Coming to the next part of your question is basically in terms of AI. See, okay, Power BI or Excel or Tableau or any other tool. Because if the certifications are from a credible source, it does help you in the beginning stages. But as and when you advance,
Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Today, we have got a truly inspiring guest who perfectly embodies the idea that your path doesn't have to be straight to be incredibly successful. We are talking about someone who started in the meticulous world of finance, crunching numbers at big four firms like Deloitte and KPMG, and then made a powerful pivot. Our guest today, Rishabh Bhauka, is here to show us how to turn messy data into magic. He is not just a chartered accountant, he is a data whisperer, helping finance professionals and startups make smarter decisions with brilliant dashboard built in Excel and Power BI. Rishabh's journey is a fantastic reminder that it's okay to fail, switch paths, and figure things out along the way, because that's exactly what he did. Now he is empowering others, sharing knowledge as a Power BI educator on YouTube, simplifying complex concepts, and even running his own ventures. Get ready to be motivated by his real-world insights, learn something incredible tips and tricks, and discover how good dashboards aren't just pretty but truly impactful. So learn him, because Rishabh's story is about transforming challenges into opportunities and turning data into actionable wisdom. Let's give huge warm welcome to the incredible, insightful Rishabh Bhauka. Hello everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Chaitanya Data. I'm your host Chaitanya, and today we have a truly inspiring guest with us, someone whose journey in the data world is as unique as it's insightful. Welcome to Chartered Accountant Rishabh.
thank you. Thank you so much, Chaitanya, for the warm welcome, and thank you for the opportunity for having me over here.
Rishabh, it's an absolute pleasure to have you, and your journey is fantastic, and I know our audience is eager to hear about it. Let's dive right in. So, Rishabh, can you walk us through your journey from the studying chartered accountant to building a dashboard and becoming a Power BI expert? I think it's a quite leap, and we would love to hear the story behind it.
All right, I would love to share my story. So I think I would like to go back to my school days. It all begins with finance and when I discovered the love for numbers. So, I used to sit with my father and discuss. My father is a small businessman. So I used to sit with him during my school days and discuss finance and, how the sales are performing, or how the cost, how we need to optimize the cost, how we need to minimize the cost, what are the tax returns, the process for audit, etc., etc. So that's when I felt that I'm really interested in this stuff. I really like the numbers. I really like, to be able to work with finance. So that led me to pursue chartered accountancy, because I felt, yes, chartered accountants are the financial experts. So I, enrolled myself in the CA curriculum, and I got to learn a lot during that period of time. and especially during my articleship phase. Okay, so for the viewers who don't know or are not aware of the articleship phase, this is basically a 3-year internship that you go under a existing practicing chartered accountant, wherein you work under them to gain that sort of experience. So that time I got introduced to various clients across various industries. Some would be from the manufacturing sector, some would be from the trading sector, some would be service providers. And I used to manage their finances. And all of this, was somehow connected to data because finance is data. And now fast forwarding to when I became a CA, I joined Big Four organization. I joined Deloitte. And there I was on the investment management domain. So those investment management companies are like big private equity and hedge funds. So that time I got exposed to huge amounts of data. So, they send their transaction reports, they send their ERP reports, and that would amount to like large file sizes. And then I would do analysis, I would do my audit procedures. So somehow I stumbled on to Power Query on Excel, which ultimately led me to follow Power BI. And that is somehow everything just got connected. Like I would like to quote Steve Jobs over here that there's this one good line that he said that you cannot connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect the dots looking backwards. And now when I look back to my journey from the love of numbers to finance to CA to Power BI and data analytics, I see every dot has been connected perfectly. So that's my journey in a nutshell.
That's a great start, Rishabh. Speaking of the challenges, your LinkedIn profile has a very honest line that resonates with many. Your LinkedIn says, I failed, switched paths, and figured it out along the way. Can you share some early career challenges you failures that taught you important lesson?
Of course. See, what I believe is failures are the reason why a person learns. So, if you're not learning from your failures, you're not learning at all. And it's human to fail. And everyone, including me, has faced failures at some point or the other in their lives. And I have failed multiple failures, and each failure taught me something. For this, I would mainly focus on my CA journey failures because that was the initial time when I got into the real world and not the schooling level and all. So to give a brief about the CA curriculum, it's basically just divided into 3 levels. So you have the foundation, you have the intermediate, and then you have the finals. And you got to clear all 3 to become a CA. Now, I did not clear any one of them in the first attempt. So I failed multiple times on each and every attempt. Like I cleared my foundation in the second attempt, the intermediate in the third, and the finals in the fourth attempt. But what every attempt taught me was some improvement that I could make in my next attempt. So, for example, once I just realized that I just called back my papers that, okay, to see where am I going wrong. And I just saw that, okay, I am missing so and so steps, or I am just, I am making such and such mistakes. I'm not writing the answers properly. I'm getting the context right, but my presentation might not be right. So that's an improvement I made on the next attempt. But next attempt, I failed because of a different reason, because maybe of exam fear, because, I just got panicked. So to counter that, I went into like, I started giving mock tests. So, get comfortable with the exam environment and things. So every time you fail, you need to understand, analyze that, okay, where you're going wrong, just own it, accept it, and then try to work on it, and things will clear out and it'll be sunshine for you after a while, for sure. So that's what I say, that learn from your failures are not bad, you need to learn from them, that's all.
Those are truly valuable lessons, I can say. It's often through our failures that we learn the most. You started your professional life in auditing at big firm. What was the turning point that made you shift from auditing at KPMG or Deloitte to a full-time data career? What clicked for you?
So this has got to be a little interesting, and this has got to be a little personal as well. So I joined Deloitte and then I switched to KPMG. It was basically the same profile that I was working on, and I got to learn a lot. To be honest, see, we come from very small backgrounds. So getting into the corporate, interacting with international clients, communication, everything I learned, I really appreciate what I learned. So I did learn how to write a proper email, how to understand the client's requirement, what is going on. But after a point, I felt that I'm not maybe meant for corporate, and I wanted to build something of my own. So I decided to quit. It was a difficult decision, but that time I did not think about data or data analytics or anything like that. I switched. I quit my job and I started my own business similar to what my father has been doing. So I got into a trading electrical items, which I still run, of course. Now, while I was in my business, I started using the tools a little bit for my personal use. For example, I started using Excel to analyze what are my sales. How my sales are improving over quarter, or maybe what are the costs I need to cut down. How are things going? And while using it for my personal needs and or doing all those analysis as a business owner, I discovered the love for it, and I thought, no, okay, why not pursue full-fledgedly? So somehow landed up in doing this simultaneously.
That's a clear turning point, I can say. Rishabh, how did your background in audit unexpectedly help you in your data analytics journey?
I would not just say audit particularly, but I would say that the entire finance thing, and of course, audit being a part of it, helped me a lot. So, first thing which I already said was the amount of data that you get while working with corporates, because they're huge clients. So, you get a heck of it, you start understanding, and your job was a lot of analysis, because even in audit we do analyze, okay, where can things go wrong? We have so and so threshold, that is the amount crossing the threshold or not? And I was fortunate enough to be part of a particular team in my audit as a audit professional, which was involved in data driven audits, because I was already interested in, I was doing, the my team asked me to be a part of another team that was more data driven. So to be, to explaining it more clearly, what happens is, when these in case of audit, when these huge clients, suppose you have one client, now every year they will send you the data in a particular format, right? They will send you the trial balances, they will send you the transaction reports, etc., and a lot of data. Now, as auditors, we make our work papers based on that data. Now, we continuously have to do apply a lot of formulas, arrangement of the data. Now, that team started, taught me Power Query, because okay, I learned Power Query, that okay, things are easier, because the data ultimately, whether it's for 2022 or 2023 or 2024, that will come in the same format. We'll have to do the same things over year and year again. Now Power Query helps us, of course, with the automation and repetitive tasks. So that's when I learned Power Query. And then, of course, with some Power Query knowledge, I started explore, and that time I learned Power Query in Excel. Now with some that knowledge, you get introduced to Power BI. So somehow getting connected, because finance and data are simultaneously running things. So that's how it helped me, get into data and analysis.
That's really insightful, I can say. Rishabh, you had a experience working in large corporate firms and now you are a successful entrepreneur. This gives you a unique perspective. So my question is that you have worked at large firms and now as an entrepreneur, how is the approach of data and analytics different in these two worlds? What are the key difference you observed?
Uh, I would say the key difference lies majorly in terms of ownership. So, what happens in large firms is, there's already a process set up. There is already, people, there are teams set up, there is different IT teams, there is already things that is being going, and you become a part of it. You become a part of that framework. And your job is to mainly maintain consistency, accuracy along the process that you follow. Whereas when you come down to, entrepreneurship and taking things on your own hands, there is nothing ready. You got to be the builder, you got to be the maintainer, you got to be the, end to end manager for everything. You got to build it. Firstly, you need to understand the client, you need to understand the client's perspective, you need to understand what they want, what kind of business report they're expecting. And then post that, you need to understand, you need to define what KPIs you would need to help the client needs. You would need to build the dashboard, you would need everything. So that kind of makes everything more personal. So that's basically the difference. I felt that okay, in corporates, everything is set up, you need to be a part of it, do your job, you need to get out. But then when you're the owner, you need to put in hours and hours of efforts, but then that is more satisfying as well.
Right. That's a very important distinction for our audience, especially for those who consider in different career paths. So, Rishabh, let's talk about learning. which is a huge part of your work. Many people are trying to get into data analytics today. So, for someone starting today, should they begin with Excel or directly jump into the Microsoft Power BI? What's your advice for beginners?
And that's a very, very good question, I think you've asked. I would say one should definitely begin with Excel. Of course, not ignore Power BI, but because see, both are from Microsoft. Ultimately, you have this similar interface. You have so one when you start with Excel, and you get used to, or you get an understanding of the basic interface of how the spreadsheet application works, what are rows, columns, basic functioning of sum is, you get an idea. And then if you and I mean, of course, now Excel is more advanced. You have DAX inside Excel, you have Power Query inside Excel. So you start getting familiarized with these things better. And then when you switch to Power BI, you are more comfortable in adapting to it. Whereas if you directly go to Power BI, someone, it might be a little challenging. So I would say, but yes, do not ignore Power BI for too long trying to perfect Excel. Maybe try to strike a balance between the two. Start with Excel, get a heck of it, and then midwhile start exploring Power BI, experiment with the tool, make rough projects, take sample data sets, work on them, and mix and match with both. So that would be my take.
Yeah, your answer provides great clarity. Arisha, what's your view on a Tableau or Google Data Studio? Have you worked on that or used?
So I have not particularly worked on any other application other than Power BI, but I would say ki as if you look at the demands, if you go to freelancing websites, if you go to places on the internet, the demand I feel for Power BI is higher, but still if you learn the analysis, learning the tool should not be a problem. I have not worked on it. I would love to learn it if I get the opportunity, but I would say it's not the tool that you need to master, but it's more of the analysis part and the requirements of your client and the understanding and how you can, transform your data into storytelling. That's what you need to master. The tools can be changed and switched and as per the requirement of the industry or the client.
Okay, so Rishabh, my next question is that you have often said Excel is the mother of BI. With artificial intelligence expected to automate 80% of basic tasks by 2025, 2026, is it still ethical to push pressures into tool-based learning? What are your thoughts on this?
So I really stand by that statement that Excel is the mother of all intelligence because, okay, I might be wrong, but as far as I can see, no other tool, Excel is the only tool that has stood the test of time. I don't know, from decades it has been operating and we are still using it. Of course, it has evolved, it has improved, and with more functions, with more features, with a better interface, everything. But Excel has always been there, and what I feel is it will still be there. And coming to the next part of your question is basically in terms of AI. See, I can take an example of a calculator, maybe. A calculator would do your job, but you still need to understand the math behind it. You still need to understand how it's calculating, it's summing up, it's reducing. So, similarly, I feel AI is a tool. AI will not do everything for you, and then you can. So, see, what I feel is you can't take AI generated values at face value. There has to be a human mind who can understand, accept, and validate the output generated by AI. So if you're saying that, okay, with AI based tools, you're not understanding the logic and you're just dependent on AI, I don't think that would be a very good approach to follow, because AI makes our it makes us efficient, it makes us faster, it makes us more comfortable. For example, you use AI for complicated formulas. You understand the logic. You're working on an Excel, you understand how it I need to put it away. And then you can use AI for formulas. But ultimately, if you ask ChatGPT today that, generate me an Excel file or something, it will generate you a basic Excel file. I don't know how many viewers have tried it, but probably a lot of us would have. And it will not give you that result that you're expecting. And probably it would still not in the future. So you have to guide the AI according to your requirements that, okay, I need so and so. So I feel tool-based learning is a great thing or an important thing to do for building your strong foundation.
Yeah, that's a crucial point about the evolving landscape of data. Rishabh, now about certification. There are many out there. Okay, so how important are certifications like Core Basics or PwC Power BI course for beginners? Do they really help?
See, they do help on a beginner basis. So I definitely would say that what happens is when you take the certification, you sort of get a validation, right? So when you pitch your work or you to any client, for example, you or any freelancing website, you're pitching your client. So how will the client know that okay, you know Power BI or you know Excel or you know Tableau or any other tool? Because if the certifications are from a credible source, it does help you in the beginning stages. But as and when you advance, you need to build your skill set in your portfolio. And of course, you can go for advanced certifications, like you can go for the PL 300 exams and stuff which will give you more credibility. So I would say yes, certifications do matter, but your skills and your portfolio actually makes you sell. So we are all here to make a sale. We are all here to, get settled financially. So I think that would be something that anyone would give you a work, or you'll be a part of anything big, that would be because of your skills and your performances. Basically providing value to the client. That's all.
Yes, that gives us a good perspective on certification. Rishabh, let's move on some practical advice for our listeners who are either learning Power BI or already using it. What's a common mistake beginners make when learning Power BI? What should they avoid?
Okay, I think I would place myself, I would recall myself and as a beginner, and I would say the most interesting thing when someone learns Power BI is, they want to make it beautiful. They want to make the dashboards look beautiful with a lot of colors, a lot of filters. I say it's like food preparation, right? So you need the food to be tasty, no matter how good it looks. But the taste is the more important aspect of a food. Of course, when you have made the food tasty, you can work on the presentation, and that is also an important aspect. But I see, and me included in those during my beginner times, focusing too much on visualizations and not trying to focus on actual understanding of data, the filter context, the basic client requirements or the KPIs that they need to focus on, the story they actually need to tell is one of the things that I feel that people should focus on, not just on building visuals. And one more thing which I feel is trying to avoid DAX for quite a long time, because it seems like a difficult part, specifically for someone with a non-tech background who is like me, who is wanting to enter into it. So DAX is ultimately the brain of Power BI. So you can't ignore, because it will be like you are not making your roots stronger. You're building a beautiful something outside, but inside, if it's not strong. So that's something I would advise people to focus on.
That's a great tip, I can say. So, Rishabh, the world of Power BI and data analytics is constantly changing day by day. Okay. So, how do you personally stay updated with Power BI updates and the latest trends in analytics? What are your go-to resources?
So I think staying updated is a very important part in this data world. I would personally say I follow a mix of official and community-driven sources. So you have the official Microsoft Power BI blog, which gives you regular updates about the versions and the changes going through. And then you can follow good channels on YouTube as well. You have even I personally follow you have Code Basics, you have WSQ Tech, you have that guy Chandu. So there are a lot of good people that you can follow. And then lastly, coming to communities, so you can be a part of a lot of LinkedIn communities, you can be a part of Discord communities, Reddit communities. And there what happens is, the best part is, when you have a doubt, you can just share a screenshot with the community, and people are willing to help. There are good people over there. So I think you just read some of the posts, and you kind of stay updated on that. So that's how I stay updated on the data world.
Thanks for sharing those resources, Rishabh. Now, when it comes to building a dashboard, we all want them to look good and work well. Okay. But the question is that what are your tips for creating dashboard that are both visually appealing and performance efficient? How do you, I can say, strike that balance?
All right. So that's a very good point, that at the end you said that we need to strike a balance between, visually appealing and performance driven dashboard. So I think a few tips that I follow in my dashboards would be, firstly, to use not too vibrant colors for the visually appealing part. Like make it subtle. See, you are doing something really good, but it has to be aligned with what your expectations of the client is. So it needs to be subtle. try to use minimal colors, like maybe 3 to 4 subtle colors, and try to make sure every filter or slicer is aligned, every chart is aligned, there is no ups and downs. So that would cover the visually appealing part. Now, coming to the performance part, we need to make sure that we do not put too much pressure on the Power Query engine. We do not put too much pressure. We need to use DAX more than we can use Power Query tables. Then one tip which I see is, suppose you import an Excel file and there are a lot of tabs, but you're not using a lot all of those tabs in your dashboard. So what you need to do is, in Power Query, you need to disable the load of those tabs. So that kind of helps. And then again, you need to re-verify the final dashboard when where the performance is lagging. Now you need to again go back, check. So I think that's how you strike a balance between, visually appealing and a performance efficient dashboard.
Yeah, those are excellent practical tips for dashboard design. Okay, so Rishabh, once a dashboard is built, presenting it effectively in another skill although altogether. Okay, especially to non-technical peoples. So, Rishabh, any advice on how to present dashboard effectively to non-technical clients or stakeholders? How do you make sure your message is understood?
See, I think most of the actual consumers of the dashboard would probably be from a non-technical background. Like, of course, if you're going in a corporate world, your ultimate reporting person would be from a technical background, of course. But when you're going for freelancing, where you're going for directly, working for your clients, they might not be from the technical background, because if they would be, they would not require you, right? So most of the cases you would find to explain it. And then they don't care what kind of DAX formulas you have used, what kind of fancy things you have done in the background. All they need to understand is, how this is solving their problem, or how is this creating value for them. So I would say first, I would put an introduction tab, just nothing, no filters, no slices, just exactly telling them word by word that what exactly this tab is doing. In some more complicated scenarios, I would maybe make a proper instruction word manual for the dashboard, just to for the client to go read through it, that okay, this, when you hit this button, this will show this, the graph will change along with pictures. And if possible, get on a call with them, make them understand face to face. These the initial things which I told are complementary, but if it is possible, you should get on a call with the person and explain them, okay, see, here I have given your sales. When I click this here, it gives you monthly sales. When I click here, it gives you yearly sales. Here you can see the percentage drop. So that is something. So they will not understand the technicalities behind how you have worked it, but they will now understand how this is helping them. For a business owner, they will know that okay, my fixed cost is going too high over here. So when I click this, I will get to know the fixed cost. So you can always explain to them in easy terms. When you're polite and with a smiling face, they would definitely, I think, understand.
That's a crucial advice for anyone in a data role. Okay, so Rishabh, freshers who are just starting their career and looking for their first job in analytics, do you have any negotiation tip for freshers when they get their first job offer in analytics? What should they keep in mind?
Okay, so I think this goes not just for data analytics, but sort of for anything. For negotiation, see, when I'm talking about a fresher, that means that person does not have prior corporate experience, right? But that does not mean that the person is not completely inexperienced, right? So what one thing I would suggest is, if you don't have prior corporate experience, you can build your own portfolio. You can work on dummy projects. So when you highlight those, like you can host them on GitHub, you can host them on Power BI service and add the links to your resume. So whenever you showcase your project, even though you don't have prior experience, but if the interviewer sees your skills, that person, that would be leveraging you to kind of negotiate good on the pay scale. Then one thing I would say is update your LinkedIn, because like LinkedIn is your virtual CV. So anyone who wants to, hire you would probably, there's a high chance that they will go through your LinkedIn. And there, if you showcase your project and skills, you can negotiate. See, we are thinking from a person who's applying for the job, but we also need to think from a perspective that the person who is hiring the person, they need to be able to understand that if I am paying this person more, what sort of extra skills or benefit that this person can give to me. So you have to bridge that gap and you have to make them understand. How will you make them understand? By showcasing your skills. And how will you showcase your skills? By developing your portfolio, showing it off on LinkedIn. So that's where you can, and of course, be polite. So whenever you get an offer, suppose an X amount, so you can see the kind of skill sets that I bring in. And if you see the projects I have worked on, if you see my portfolio, I can definitely be a value add on for your company, for your organization. And I'm pretty much sure that I'll be able to do even better when I am, employed with you. So that would be a soft way of negotiating. And see, when a person is hiring, I would take rough number as an example. The HR will always have a budget. So suppose the budget is 8 lakhs to 9 lakhs. So the HR might offer you that 8 lakhs or 8.5 lakhs as your salary. But when they see your skill, they already have the budget of 9 lakhs. So they might be willing to say, okay, I don't want to let this person go. This is a skilled person and this will definitely add value to my organization. And then I should hire them, and you can negotiate it in that way. But be soft and polite in your tone, and don't have a commanding tone. That's all I'd say.
Yes, yes, yes. So, Rishabh, in India, there are many CA firms who run by the CAs, not big scale, but the team of 15 or 25 people. So, is there a need of the specific Power BI developer or the data analytics?
See, I would say in terms of CA firms, we offer, I mean, like, I'm not a part of CA firm. So, what CA firms offer is different sort of services to the client. So, a CA firm might just be providing income tax services or return filing services or GST return services. So, probably in that case, the requirement would not be as much high for a Power BI developer. But yes, I would say that there are firms who are providing, consultancy services. They are providing not assurance and audit services, but they are virtual CFOs. That's a very big thing that a lot of CAs are going through right now. So they are basically the backbone of your business. So those firms providing those services, you need to find them out, and they definitely would require a Power BI developer, because the client, they would provide end-to-end services to the clients, right? So a CA firm would provide, okay, I am taking your finances and I'm providing you the end-to-end services. So along with the returns, along with the financial services, they would provide them dashboard services and data visualization services as well. So in that case, you need to find out which firm provides those services, and then there can be opportunities for sure.
Okay, so if the CA firm has the employee of the 30 employees, so how much employees are reserved for this specific post?
Okay, again, I would like to state it really depends on the client base that they are targeting. So for some, it might be zero, because as I said, they are not at all providing analytical services. They might be providing information systems audit services or anything like that, and that would not require. But if a CA firm suppose has 20 clients, and of course in 20 clients, they are providing data visualization services to like more than 10 clients. So, and if it employs like 10 employees. So out of that 10 employees, at least 3 to 4 would definitely be Power BI experts. So it all depends. You need to figure out and find out. There are firms that are providing these sort of services, but then, and depending on what client base do they serve, they would definitely like have requirements. In some case, it might be 20%, some case it might be 10%, some case it might be 30%, 40%. It completely varies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, Rishabh, you are not just a data expert, but also a fantastic educator with a popular YouTube channel. What inspired you to start your YouTube channel as a Power BI educator, and what's your long-term vision for it? Where do you see it going?
See, I'm not not that popular yet, but of course, what I would say is I found the love for teaching during my college days, I would say, and during my chartered accountancy days. So what happens is I am a firm believer of when you start teaching, you start learning better. So whether you're teaching a friend, a colleague, a junior, or anything. So that is something which I felt that I enjoy people, learning from me. So that's what made me, start a YouTube channel, so that, okay, I can, reach out to public at large and maybe learn something new. Because what will happen is, okay, if I'm teaching, I might make some mistake. There might be some improvement, and then someone can suggest me, oh, you suggested this, but I think this would be a better approach. And that would make me better because if there are people watching. So that is one way. And in the long term vision, I would want that people gather around, and I want it to be a go to data place so that anyone can learn for. And also one more aspect I want to cover, me belonging to a non technical background, if I can learn, I want people to know that okay, even if you're from finance background or arts background or whatever, if you really want to learn, you can learn. So that's somewhat, it'll help the people. I feel that okay, even if they don't belong to a technical background, they can learn, because if I can do it, a lot of other people can do it for sure.
Your vision is truly inspiring, and I am sure many of our listeners follow your channel. Rishabh, to wrap up the things, let's look at the bigger picture. In your view, what's the future of data analytics in the India, especially with the artificial intelligence and automation on the rise? What does the landscape look like for the next year?
So I feel that the entire world is right now evolving around data. Like from end to end, everywhere, data is the business. Data is the new business. See, I'll just give a very basic example that everyone can relate to. How many times we have seen that you search something on Google, and then bam, you have Amazon ads, you have Flipkart ads, you have everything, just showing you, trying to make you buy the product. Or how credit card companies call you. How is this happening? Everything is evolving around data. Your data was collected that okay, this person is browsing so and so product. It was analyzed, right? Okay, this person can be a potential buyer, and then it was flagged that okay, this is so everything I feel is now right now evolving around data. Google Maps, what is it doing? It's collecting data. Everywhere I think data is the new thing. So I would say data is a very great field to work, and it will continuously evolve. So when I say that, data is evolving, I also mean to say that India is evolving with data, with the digitization, with everything going so ahead, with the FP&A profile. I'm not sure if everyone has heard this, but the financial planning and analysis profile, from budgeting to forecasting, everything is, revolving around data. So I feel it has a great future, and the requirement for data analyst would keep on rising. But of course, I would also like to place a constraint, the requirement for skilled data analysts. So you need to be upgrading, you need to be, continuously evolving and learning, and the requirement would endlessly be there. And that's all.
Okay, so Rishabh, this has been an incredible, insightful conversation. Your journey, your advice, and your vision are truly valuable for our audience. Thank you so much for joining us on Chaitanya Data today.
Absolutely. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you, Chaitanya. Amazing and a really good experience. I would love to share. And if anyone has anything that they want to reach out to me, or, talk to me, I'm all available.
Yeah, that's bring us to the end of another episode of the Chaitanya Data. A huge thank you to the Rishabh for sharing his wisdom with us. If you want to learn more about Rishabh, you can find him on LinkedIn. You can text him on LinkedIn also, and subscribe his YouTube channel. I'm putting the link of the both social media handles in the description. Thank you so much, Rishabh. Thanks a lot for joining.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chaitanya. Lovely talking to you. Bye bye.
I hope you like this podcast. Please let me know in the comment which guests you would like to see on the podcast and any specific topics you would like us to discuss with them. I will try to bring those guests and ask your questions, so you will get more helpful information. Before you go, share this episode with someone. It might really help, because one conversation can change person's life and give them idea and new direction. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. See you in next video.